About keeping your child safe in sports. There are a few considerations we make. We think about protecting it from violence in several ways: physical violence, sexual violence, and psychological violence. And we think of sport as a way as respecting the health and well-being of your child. So first, violence. Sport can be a threat for the physical safety by inappropriate training methods, by physical punishment, but also by overtraining or training through pain, training through injuries, aggressive behavior on competition. So those things are the things we're thinking about of preventing your child from physical violence. Psychological violence like bullying or exerting undue pressure on a child. That's another thing we want to avoid. And then sexual violence that's going from inappropriate remarks till unwanted touching.
Okay, so parents can play a pivotal role in protecting their child within a sporting environment. There are key things that they can look out for in club or sport environments to identify safe practice for a child. It could be things like looking to see whether a club or organisation has safeguarding or keeping children safe policies and procedures, which outline what poor practice may look like in a coaching environment, so expectations on the behaviour of the staff that might be supporting the young person in sport. It should also, those policies and procedures should also outline some of the identified risks, but also the response when you may have a concern or the expected response you might have from the sport. There are a range of practical things that parents can also look for within a club environment, and they can include things from the recruitment process that's put in place for staff, coaches and any other support staff within the club. So are they entitled to sort of a police check or background check or references, and have those been followed by the club? There's also a coaching qualification structure within most sports organisations that we would expect coaches to have undertaken. And it's really important that parents do ask some questions and sort of establish whether the staff looking after their child are appropriately qualified for the activity in which they're taking part. I think there's some other things that parents can look for, and they include the other training that coaches may have had in other areas such as health and safety, so first aid, other safeguarding courses, or coaching young children qualifications where they may have done a little more to establish themselves as an appropriate support system for your child. Thinking about other things that clubs could have in place, it might also be appropriate for a club to have a club welfare officer, someone who's responsible for ensuring the safety of children at that particular club. Often, especially in the UK, that person is named, so you would be able to establish who the person responsible for implementing some of the policies and procedures and checking that checks have been done. That's really important. They also serve as a good point of contact for your child if they do have any worries when they're in sport. So often that person might be a first point of contact should you or your child have any concerns.